It all started with one photo. A seemingly ordinary moment, but in a matter of minutes transformed into a global topic. Full timelines, lined-up comments, and the name Jungkook again dominate the entire cyberspace. That day, everyone seemed to stop for a moment just to see what exactly is her latest look like this time. There were no official announcements. No teasers, not even any previous signs that Jungkook would make a public appearance. But once one short clip of a fan site spreads across X and Instagram, the domino effect is overwhelming. All platforms exploded. "Jungkook's visuals are getting ridiculous," wrote one viral comment, accompanied by a crying emoji and a fiery heart. But if traced deeper, why this emergence can be so disturbing? It's not just a change of hairstyle, it's not just a matter of fashion or the way she walks past the camera. It's about how every little detail on Jungkook was able to shift the dynamics of global social media in a matter of hours. In the 15-second video, Jungkook appears with a new hairstyle that fans call Wednesday cut, because it happened to appear on Wednesday, and the shape resembles a simple but sharp cut typical of the mysterious character in the popular series. Her jet black hair is combed to the side, with a smooth, slightly wavy texture, creating an effortless but very cinematic impression. Fans compare it to the style of Hollywood artists, runway models, to rising Japanese actors. But the most interesting thing is not only the new style, but the aura that emanates. Jungkook looks more mature, calmer, and more confident than ever before. The camera captures his gaze that is not just focused towards the front, but as if through the screen, as if aware that the whole world is looking at him. Comments on TikTok shot up. "He doesn't need a filter. Lighting just loses," wrote one user. Within 24 hours, the clip had been viewed more than 28 million times on various platforms, prompting many international media to cover. Billboard wrote, "Jungkook proves once again that even a casual look can redefine male pop star aesthetics," while Vogue Korea called his look a study in minimalism and charisma. But to understand why this is so big, we have to look back at how Jungkook has long been the center of gravity between the worlds of music, fashion, and digital culture. Any changes in him are not just a topic of gossip, but a reflection of the movement of global trends. From the hairstyle, to the facial expressions, to the way he steps, everything is studied, dissected, discussed. And this time, seemingly simple changes turned out to bring tremendous resonance in public perception. Many people may think, it's just hair. But when it comes to Jungkook, there's nothing just. Every visual change is a message. Her new hair, slightly long at the front and cut thin at the back, is not just aesthetic, but a reflection of the changing phase of her life. After a long period in which Jungkook appeared with short hair typical of the promotion period of 7 and 3D, his new style now looks more natural, more relaxed, but actually more highlights his mature character. He looks like someone who has gone through a lot and now chooses to appear carefree. If you note, this concept is similar to how many fashion icons of the world changed their image after reaching the peak of their careers. For example, David Beckham, who was once known for his flamboyant style, has finally transformed into a symbol of simple but expensive masculine elegance. Jungkook did something similar, but in a digital generation version. When she showed up with the hairstyle Wednesday, social media instantly flooded her timeline with analysis. Some say, this style of low effort, high impact, it's called the quiet confidence era. All agreed that his performance this time was like marking a new chapter. Interestingly, The effect is not only in the virtual world. Salons in Korea and Japan report an increase in demand for similar styles. On TikTok, the hashtag number Jungkook hair trended to 300 million views in 2 days. More interestingly, some lifestyle magazines have even used Jungkook's photo to mark the emergence of the trend of neutral masculinity, the appearance of a man who remains strong without losing visual softness. But behind it all, there is something more interesting. How Jungkook seems to understand this dynamic without having to say anything. He doesn't post photos on Instagram, doesn't caption, doesn't even appear on live broadcasts. But his silence was the subject of the most lively conversation. Fans call it the silent domination. In a way, this shows that Jungkook is no longer just a celebrity to follow. He is a symbol of non-verbal communication in the visual era. The world is now waiting, not only for the song, but also for its expression. This new hair moment feels like a reminder that sometimes the real power is in the unspoken details. It has reached the point where each of its movements translates as a lifestyle statement. Fashion editors write lengthy analyses of the texture of her hair, stylists are called in for interviews, and global brands like Calvin Klein suddenly slip in scissor emojis. Everything moves like an orchestra led by one conductor named Jungkook. And in the midst of all that hustle and bustle, what's interesting is how unflappable Jungkook appears. He walked as usual, smiled for a moment at the camera, then disappeared from view. But that's exactly where the magic is. Because his absence after that brief appearance creates space for curiosity. Fans feel they have to guess, search, discuss, and the more they search, the bigger the viral wave. Jungkook doesn't just perform, he creates narrative. It's as if this world of entertainment is a big screen, and he's a director who knows when to appear, when to be silent, when to shake, and when to reflect reflections. While everyone thinks it's just about hair, it's actually about how global icons control cultural currents without a word. He knew the world was staring at him, and he knew when the time was right to give them something seemingly simple but of great significance. His new style isn't just a trend, it's a statement. That simplicity, if done with honesty and perfect timing, can be the most dangerous form of power in this visual era. And in the context of Jungkook, it's no coincidence. That's the natural strategy of someone who's already incarnated into the center of a universe of global attention. Sometimes in the world of entertainment, one individual is able to change the global rhythm just by appearing a few seconds in front of the camera. And that's what happened to Jungkook. As soon as she stepped out with her new look, the world seemed to pause to take notice. Full timelines, trending topics appearing in dozens of countries, even the algorithms of big platforms like YouTube and TikTok seem to be giving up all highlight Jungkook. But why so strong? The answer is not only because he is a member of BTS, but because his presence now exceeds the limits of an ordinary idol. Jungkook has become a social phenomenon and a visual culture that permeates every layer of the internet. Imagine the media atmosphere at that time. Famous fashion accounts vying to upload pieces of video. Is this Jungkook's new era? Writes Harper's Bazaar US. The most captivating look of the year, added Japan's GQ. Even lifestyle media from France to Brazil also gave reviews. Each country seems to have its own version of the analysis, as if Jungkook's hair is a new linguistic symbol in global pop culture. In Korea, online community forums are buzzing about her maturing side. In America, the discussion shifted towards fashion statements and visual storytelling. And in Japan, fans see him as a figure who carries a gentle but authoritative aesthetic of masculinity, something rare in the world of modern male celebrities. But behind all that, there is a psychologically interesting thing. People don't just see Jungkook, they feel his presence. There is something in the way she carries herself that creates a universal emotional resonance. He walked slowly but steadily. No exaggerated smiles, no theatrical gestures. But it is precisely its simplicity that penetrates the boundaries of cultural interpretation. It was as if he was speaking through an aura. Fans call it presence energy. Fashion media called it visual intelligence. Whatever the term, it all points to one thing. Jungkook's presence has a cinematic value that no other celebrity has. If pulled backwards, this ability doesn't just come along. Jungkook has long been known as a person who is very observant of trends, light, cameras, and audience emotions. Since his debut at a young age, he grew not only as a singer, but as an observer of human visual behavior. While many other idols focused on performing on stage, Jungkook noticed how a small expression could translate into a big impression. He learned from the world of photography, fashion editorial, even cinematography. No wonder when he walks in front of the camera, his body seems to know the best position to reflect light, knows when to stare, and when to look down a little. All looks natural, but it's actually the result of a deep visual understanding. The effect is very noticeable. A few days later, Google Trends showed an incredible spike for the keywords Jungkook hair, Jungkook new look, and Wednesday hairstyle male. On TikTok, hundreds of thousands of people create reaction content, from professional stylists who analyze individual strands of hair to ordinary fans who try to copy the style. But what's interesting is how all that attention doesn't stop at the aesthetic level. People start talking about the meaning behind the look. One of the articles in Elle Korea magazine wrote, "Jungkook may not be promoting the album, but his appearance is a form of artistic communication. It expresses personal change in the quietest, yet most impactful way." This is not just a media analysis, but a reflection of a broader phenomenon that the public is now reading Jungkook like they are reading a living work of art. He does not need words, because the visuals themselves already speak. And this phenomenon is even more interesting when we look at how global brands are responding. Calvin Klein, which last year made Jungkook an international face, suddenly uploaded a photo of a man's silhouette with the caption, "Midnight Movement," without naming names, but the public knows where the code is going. Fans immediately linked Jungkook's new hairstyle to the visual concept of Calvin Klein's latest fall, divided by Winter 2025 campaign. Many suspect that her appearance this time is not accidental, but part of the soft pre-campaign. But even if it is, there's no denying that Jungkook's delivery is subtle and elegant, not blatant promotion, but natural narrative construction. This is what sets Jungkook apart from many other figures. He knew that in today's fast-paced world, silence can be louder than sound. And in a world where everyone is vying to be seen, Jungkook chooses to be seen because of his calmness. That's what makes him relevant, even when he's not playing. On the other hand, this also creates a kind of paradox. The less it appears, the greater the impact. Fans feel like waiting for the next visual surprise. The international media began treating Jungkook's every appearance as an event, not just an update. And that's what rarely happens in an industry already saturated by overexposure. Jungkook manages to keep the mystery amidst the openness of the digital world. It becomes a kind of public secret that everyone knows but still wants to guess. Viewed from the standpoint of popular culture, this kind of strategy actually reflects the phenomenon of controlled absence, an absence designed to strengthen attraction. Michael Jackson used to do it with silence and unexpected appearances. Beyoncé did it through a sudden release. And now, Jungkook is applying it to the social media era with a new twist, utilizing visual silence as a form of communication. He creates engagement not through captions, but through mystery. When the media wrote, "All eyes to Jungkook," the sentence was not hyperbole. Engagement data proves. Within 2 days of his appearance, Jungkook became the most talked about K-pop artist name across all platforms, beating out all the groups making a comeback. Even men's beauty brands are reporting an increase in sales of hairstyling products after fans flocked to look for ways to mimic the texture of their hair. It's not just viral, it's cultural. And perhaps, behind all that success, there is one thing that is most powerful: authenticity. Fans know that Jungkook never tries too hard to look perfect. He continued to eat, laugh, act weird on live broadcasts, but when it was time to appear in front of the camera, his transformation was total. That's why his new appearance this time is not just about the physical, but about his emotional journey as a human being. This new hair is like a metaphor for a new chapter. More relaxed, but more authoritative. Darker, but more reflective. The world can't stand still because they know behind every little step of Jungkook, there's always a big story waiting to unfold. And perhaps, precisely because he never explained anything, the public felt it had room to interpret, admire, and love in their own way. Jungkook is no longer just a public figure. He has become a visual language that anyone, anywhere can understand.